4608. All right, Jacob, we'll keep on rolling here. Any other questions on that, man? I just had to, that was a hard out there. I had to get that in.
No, that makes sense. Like you said, it's just that zero coverage. It was such a larger number when you look down that list here compared to what a lot of teams are doing, 1%, 0%, 2%. And then there seems to be a few that pop in there, but it is true. You get kind of caught up in a certain number without realizing like that's a very small part of what they're doing there. I think that's just kind of cool though.
Yeah. I think so too.
What are your thoughts on Brian Flores? I haven't really got to talk much with you about that at all.
I love B-Flow. Love him. When he took the job in Minnesota, the big talking point throughout Packers Twitter was, well, he can't run that man coverage up here. He ain't got the dogs to run that man coverage. And I'm going, boy, y'all have no idea what he did, what New England did all those years. Yeah, they played a lot of bullseye man, but go back and watch what they did to the LA Rams in the Super Bowl. You know what they did with the LA Rams? They played zone predominantly the whole Super Bowl and shut them down. Like, they were very interchangeable. The thing that B-Flow does is he's always going to adapt his scheme to what his strengths are on his roster. That's Bill Belichick 101. Put your players in a position to do what they do really well. Do your job. People hear do your job and they think it means shut up and do your job. That's not what it means. Do your job means forget everything else that's going on in the game. Each position and each defensive play call, you've got 2, maybe 3 responsibilities. Just focus on doing yours and don't worry about what else is happening. Don't worry about the sugar. Don't worry about the motion. Don't worry about where your teammates are. You just focus on your 2 or 3 responsibilities, whether it's match, man, whatever it may be, blitzing, playing with the proper leverage, attacking the proper half of the ball carrier and the blocker if you're the one meeting the run fit, all those things. B-Flow was one of Belichick's most respected assistants, right? You remember the Super Bowl, Jacob, where Russell Wilson throws the interception when they try to run a little pick play and he throws the interception and it was Malcolm Butler. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you if you'll watch the NFL Films version of that, you'll notice that when the play was called, B-Flow, you can hear B-Flow on the mic scream, Malcolm, go. Malcolm, they said he did not do anything all week on that play. They ran it all week in practice because Ernie Adams was the one who suggested they run it. He combed through all the tape and said, if we ever find ourselves in a position where they need to go for it on a 3rd or 4th down inside our 2, they love to run this pick play. They drew it up on the card. They practiced it all week. They said Malcolm Butler didn't stop at one time all week long. But boy, when the Super Bowl was on the line, B-Flow had the huevos to say, Malcolm, go. You're in. He just had a hunch. I'm telling you, he's a hell of a coach. He's a really good coach.
Was it Michael Lombardi that had basically a whole chapter on just that one play?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's in Gridiron Genius. If you guys haven't read that book, it's a phenomenal book. So, yeah, and again, every defense has its pros and cons, right? The beautiful thing about what Jeff Hafley's doing is, man, he's really picking his spots to bring that pressure. We're giving up a lot of explosives, but it is kind of a form of bend but don't break. And then when they smell blood in the water, man, they attack. Early in that game in Tennessee when we were there, I was, that first quarter was like, oh, boy, this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tight one. And then once we jumped out to and kind of extended that lead, Hafley turned them loose. And when I mean turn them loose, it wasn't like he was going 0. He didn't go 0 one time to the best of my knowledge, right? I mean, how often have we ran it here? 1% of the time? That was probably in like a 4th down situation, right? Where you're trying to, run blitz. But he would pick his spots, and the way he would manufacture it with the ET stunts and the overload and all that stuff, man, it's just it's fun to watch, dude. It's so fun to watch.
Do you think it's a fair statement to say that the NFL is drastically getting away from the cover 2 man? Because as I look at this chart here, that seems to be the most glaring area where you see 0s or 1s or 2s, and what do you see? The Commanders with 8, Jaguars with 7%, and then the next highest would be the Bills.
And you remember 2-man under was the kryptonite for Aaron Rodgers. And he said, remember what he said? They said, how do you attack this 2-man under? You got to run them out of it. Well, guess what's down this year? Passing is down in the league, right? Guess what's up? Running the ball. So the reason people are running less 2-man under is because people are running them out of it. That's my assumption. I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it. And again, you can play. It's a very two-man under is a very safe passing defense. What two-man under means is cover two high. You got two deep safeties covering half the field, each in responsibility. And the technique in which you got cover two man is just exactly that. Man coverage with two safeties up top. Cover two man under or two man under is two safeties up top. And everyone in man coverage is playing trail technique. They're playing underneath technique, saying, look, I'll let you beat me over the top, but I'm not giving you the slant. I'm not giving you the drag. I'm not giving you the quick out. And that's what really makes quarterbacks nervous, because when you play two-man under, you've got to feather that ball in between the safeties up top and over top of the man under technique that's sitting underneath. It makes it a lot tougher. And good corners can take away every route in that regard. So
right.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on to zone defense real quick. I really wanted to get to this too. We talked about man, same players apply, okay? And there's your man coverage. You know what? We did have the passer rating when targeted. I just missed it. Let's see it real quick. So passer rating when targeted in man coverage, Carrington Valentine, 0. Xavier McKinney, 0. Evan Williams, 0. Corey Ballantyne, only 1 snap, 0. Keyshawn Nixon, in man coverage, his passer rating when targeted, Jacob, 39.6, bro. That is wild. Javon Bullard, as bad as his coverage grade is, it's 110.4. It's not the worst. Jair Alexander, 143.8. Eric Stokes, 152.1. So now you're seeing why Carrington probably stole some of those snaps, and we were all confused. And you're going, Clayton, his PFF grade was good, right? He was setting the edge fairly well, playing the run, and I'm sure his zone numbers are really, really good. So let's hop over to zone real quick. Coverage grade in zone coverage. Look at this, boys. Xavier McKinney, 89.3. Jair Alexander, 86.7. Eric Stokes, 73.6. Carrington Valentine, 71.4. Javon Bullard, 65.0. Evan Williams, 47.2. Keyshawn Nixon, 46.3. So it's give and take. You've got Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes playing great in zone coverage, right? Carrington as well. But Keyshawn's struggling in zone. Keyshawn's playing great in man. Now, there is a combo play that you can call, okay? It's very rare, where you can call a cover 3 lock is what they call it. And basically, cover 3 lock is everyone on the field is playing cover 3. You've got 3 deep and only 3 underneath zones, and you can pick one player to play man coverage and follow that player, or just play man coverage no matter what his assignment is. Maybe you mix in a little cover 3 lock and let Keyshawn play man coverage and everyone else kind of play. When you get into that combo stuff, that's where you'll see me on Chalk Talk, Jacob. I'll put a question mark. I'll say cover 3 match, question mark. I don't know what the hell they're running, because this dude's playing man and that's playing zone. If we're not in the meeting room, we don't truly know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But what do you think about those grades, man? That's pretty wild, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been pretty happy with this Packers defense. I think that it's fair to say that they've made, as far as turnovers and just, limiting big plays and just, I hate saying that term, bend but don't break. I think that's fair to say when we look at the man grades, they're so seemingly bad, or just bad, not like horrible, but they're bad. I was like, well, the opposite side of that coin, the zone has to be at least pretty decent. And here you see the opposite side of that coin with Xavier dang near elite, Jair pushing that boundary as well, Stokes playing very well, Carrington playing very well, and then Bullard kind of vitalizing his status there. And then guys like, Nixon, again, his opposite side of the coin is definitely to be that man, more press guy. And Evan Williams is young, and Ballantyne hasn't really gotten much at all for snaps. So that being said, I think like you talked about, if there was some sort of, what you've talked about, man match principles and, the cover 3 options and just different ways of using their talents. I feel like Hafley, I'm not going to keep dogging old D coordinators, but I think that there is a special thing about Hafley where he understands what his players are good at and what they're not good at. And then he's good at developing a scheme or certain schemes that are maybe interchangeable for certain players. Whereas before, I think they just maybe had more of a game plan and said, go do this. Whereas Hafley is very intricate, where he says this puzzle piece goes here, this piece goes here. And I think he's better. We talked about how his whole thing going in is he doesn't want to just tell you what to do. He wants to teach you what to do. And I think that mentality with him as a coach is really, we can clearly see it in the takeovers. I mean, haven't we already surpassed what we did last year? So I'm I'm pretty excited about it. I think that as we progress, that I think the man grades will hopefully get better, and hopefully the zone grades just maintain, or if not, even some of the guys at the bottom start working their way up a little bit. But I think McKinney is possibly the steal of the trade market.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Like McKinney with free agency, like that is the ultimate signing. Just wild. Mr. Goat says, got the day off, able to catch an AM chat. Morning, Packer heads. Appreciate you swinging through, Mr. Goat. Brandon Johnson says, Green Bay wins this weekend on Sunday. I hope and pray it's my birthday. Go Pack Go would be the best birthday gift ever. Happy early birthday, Brandon. Let's go get that dub, man. Mr. Goat says, I may be all alone on this. I prefer Malik against an under 100% love. His legs are a weapon we will need against aggression. Listen, I'm not saying I agree with you, Mr. Goat, but I understand it. I completely get it. It's just, if love is 90%, what does that mean? How does that hinder him, right? One of the ways that you can really attack that aggression too, and I understand what you're saying, and I think it's a good thought, being able to scramble away from it, right? Being able to move out of the pocket. But the number one way to attack a blitzing defense is cut them apart through the air. Find the hole and hit those explosives and watch them tuck their tail and get out of that blitz front, right? And when they do that, then you go back to the run type thing. But I understand what you're saying. I've thought about this too, Jacob. Listen, one game, okay. 2 games, you've got to be putting your head in the sand to pretend like, okay, Malik is playing damn good. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, and the first thing that popped into my head, I don't know if I was just halfway asleep this morning or if I was, every now and then I'll wake up really early and I'll throw in a few podcasts, and then you kind of just daydream and you can't tell if it's your thought or if it's somebody else's thought.
Yeah, right.
But it blended into my head. I'm like, what if, because Matt LaFleur, I mean, I really do think that he is the best NFL schemer in the league right now, just with what he does, what he's done specifically with Malik. Like, I can't remember who it was that said he didn't just, or maybe I think it was Flores that said, that what he's done with Malik Willis, not even just getting him ready as a backup quarterback with like weeks of prep, just a couple weeks of preparation. He didn't just change what they do in certain play calling. He's like, they changed the handoff schemes. They changed the way the drop back went. They changed his steps. They utilized, really kind of like I just said, how Halfley knows what to do with his players on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, LaFleur, some of the like the orbit motion they were using when they do that. And then that one where they turn around to the orbit motion, turn back around to Wilson sneaking out of the flat. And it's like, that's brilliant. And I just think in my head, is there any world that you see where Jordan Love's the starter, but almost in like a Saints type of Taysom Hill type scenario, all of a sudden Malik Willis trots out maybe once every couple series and they have random packages? Because just imagine what Matt LaFleur can do if Malik Willis is in the backfield with Jordan Love, or vice versa, or they start doing some crazy motions. I mean, I could see it. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, listen, that's a big talking point. If you're asking my opinion, I don't want to see that, me personally, because I can't think of another offense that has been a championship offense, won a Super Bowl, that's done that. That's what I always run through my filter. But you're not the only person saying that. I hear podcasters too. They're scoffing at it. Go, can we stop with that? We need to have a package for Malik. I'm never going to be like that. I disagree with it, but I'm never going to come from a standpoint of, shut up, that's silly. You should, let me tell you how to think type thing, right? And the main reason is historically, who has done that and had success? That's the problem I have with it, right? And it could be the first, right? It could be the first.
I just more see him maybe spelling Love every now and then. I mean, because you can literally design runs for that. I did not realize how good of a runner Malik Willis is. And a guy that's what is he, like 6'4", 220, runs a 440?
Is he 6'4"? I was thinking he was short. Hold on a minute, Jake. I don't.
Pull him up.
I may be
Jamie
wrong.
in the chat, pull us up.
I'm looking it up right now. I may be wrong, but I didn't think he was.
I just remember seeing him in his stance at the first snap of that game, the last game.
He's 6'1".
He's only 6'1"? Okay, yeah. I'm stupid.
He plays big.
I remember looking at his legs, like his calves and everything, and I was like, this dude can run. And the way that he did run, I looked it up, and then I was like, man, he had like the most rushing yards ever at Liberty, I think it was. And some of the design runs were just insane. Even when they knew it was coming, it seems like he was more of that, I hate saying Justin Fields, but like Cam Newton in his prime, Justin Fields, when they basically everybody and their brother knew that he was going to run it, and they just can't stop him. And I don't feel like most cornerbacks any kind of DB is going to really get down and put that dude down with one hit. I mean, I think I saw it maybe one time. Otherwise, he takes those hits and he kind of falls forward for another 3 yards.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, too, when Malik came out in the draft, I remember in his draft profile, there were people saying that he didn't run the 40, but teammates said he was the fastest guy on the team. So that's corners, wide receivers, running backs, everybody. Malik was the fastest one on the roster, what they said. Now, he was sitting in the 14th spot in the consensus big board. He fell to the 3rd round. Seems like everybody that made fun of everyone who had him that high, they probably had it wrong, because, again, coaching matters. It does, man. It does. Last thing here on the zone coverage I want to hit on. So the passer rating in zone coverage, again, Corey Ballantyne, only 1 snap, 0 passer rating when targeted. Jair Alexander, 48.5. Xavier McKinney, 50. Eric Stokes, 71.9. Carrington Valentine, 72.9. Evan Williams, 118.8. Javon Bullard, 118.8. Keyshawn Nixon, 126.6. Here's the big thing that sticks out to me, Jacob. We couldn't figure out why is Carrington getting some of the snaps from Eric Stokes. Now, Carrington was hurt last week, right? So we said, okay, it's because he played much better man coverage. Eric Stokes probably played better zone coverage, right? Look at this, man. It's basically identical in zone coverage. Carrington Valentine, 72.9 when targeted. Eric Stokes, 71.9. And again, if we go back to man coverage, well, I hate how that gets wonky. Let's go back real quick if I can find it. Don't like how they have this sorted here. All right. So again, when you go here, Carrington Valentine, 0 passer rating when targeted in man coverage. He's the better corner. Only 20, whatever it was, 20-some snaps. But he is outperforming Eric Stokes right now, man. And Eric Stokes is in the final year of his contract, too. They may be looking at, let's use them both. Stokes will hit the market, get a nice little contract, and Carrington will step right in his place. That might be a way that they save money on the cap. You know what I'm saying? So, just something to keep our eyes on there. God, I love this defensive talk, though. It's absolutely awesome. Let me see what else I had.
Can we hit this last question real quick? Because I feel like it's a little more on topic, and then we can maybe move off it. Mr. Omer says, I was not happy they let AJJ go, though I liked him, and he had a great camp. What the dealio? We kept Zane Anderson, who'd clear waivers easily, and lost AJJ at safety. Put me off. Rich, we cater him enough players. I don't know exactly what the end part of that meant, but I think he's mad at Rich and saying that we give him basically enough special teamers is his argument.
And here's the deal, Omer. I agree on Zane Anderson. As far as trying to give Rich what he needs to have a good special teams, when was the last time a team returned a kick for a touchdown on us, both kickoff and punt? It's been a long time. Yeah. When was the last time that we had a punt blocked since Rich took over?
Can't remember that either.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let Rich do his thing. You understand what I'm saying? Because and listen, I know the special teams is grading out bad, but when you look at the numbers and you look at, okay, what are the actual results? I can't complain, man. I can't. I'm sorry. He's getting the job done. All I wanted 3-4 years ago before Rich arrived was I just need the special teams to not lose me the game, right? That's all I need, and that's what's happening. So I'm happy. I'm happy as a pig, and you know what? Ron Sample says AJJ is inactive this week. There you go. I guess I got to respectfully disagree with that comment. Doesn't mean I'm right and he's wrong, but maybe I'm settling too, Jacob. I don't know. I'm just happy that the special teams.
I think it's fair. I think that probably, like myself, most fans see the missed field goals and they equate that to just having a crap coach, crap special teams. But like you talked about, there are a lot of things that go into it. I know for a while we were very worried about the snap and the holder exchange, that whole thing, and that seems to have been pretty shored up, and to be honest, we've given Rich a rookie kicker and then a rookie kicker and now a free agent kicker, you know what I mean? And he can't go out there and kick the balls. He can just kind of put these guys in position to go make plays. So in a way, I do understand it. I've been pretty critical of him as well, just because of the position he holds. Like the guy's the assistant head coach, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the special teams coach. And I think that his presence is maybe a lot more that we don't see on the field. A lot of it, again, like I talk about that emotional side of football that we can't measure with any kind of stat or grade. I think he brings more of that to the table than we could ever know.
Yeah, got it. Jared Reyes in the chat says, last punt blocked was Jets game in 2022. Appreciate it, Jared. Thank you so much, buddy. So, yeah, as long as the special teams isn't losing games for us, that's all I really care about. And if that's the case, if that's what it takes, and you got to keep kind of Rich happy, then I'm good with it, right? Super chat here from Michael. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for supporting the stream. He says, good morning, y'all. Loving the morning pods. Excited for this weekend with Jonesy back in Green Bay. Just bought my tickets to the Texans game as well. Hey, wear white, baby. Let's go. Got that winter warning game. That's going to be so much fun, Michael.
That will be cool.
I think it'll still be a good game, but going in, it's like as a fan to go to that game, you go, oh, man, that's probably one they're decent chance they're going to lose because Houston's so good. But then you see Houston get their ass kicked last week by Minnesota, and it's like, hey, maybe that's a real fun one to go to now, right? We'll see which team shows up. They got a good pass rush with Will Anderson, and I'm trying to think who's on the other side. It was someone that used to play Minnesota. His name's
Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter. That's right. So, Michael, thank you for the super chat. And we're going to be doing more morning shows as we get into the month of November. That's when my work really slacks off. We got hurricanes rolling through down here, so I thought, what the heck? Well, I'm not working today. Let's let them hear the windows break live on the air, right? So, but thank you for the super chat. I want to dive into this, Jacob. We got about 13 minutes left here. So this is linebacker coverage, all right? And what I did was I sorted it by the NFL, okay? And I did do a minimum, I think, here. Did I do minimum snaps? Yeah, I did a custom minimum snap number to get Quay in here, okay? So this is kind of the guys who had minimum coverage that's at least comparable to Quay, because he was going to be really low on the list because you had like 2 coverage snaps, 3 coverage snaps, things like that, right? So in man coverage, and I wanted to see how our linebackers stack up is really what I want to do, okay? Grade-wise, we pretty much know they're grading like cheeks, right? We've talked about that. So what I want to do, if I can find it, hopefully it is on this list.
Oof.
And of course,
see who my boy Bobby Wagner is over there at a 53.6. Come on,
we were screaming. We were screaming. We wanted him, didn't we, Jacob?
Hey, it's better than Devondre at number 5 at 45.4.
Right,
bro.
I'm glad we didn't get what we wanted, sir.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Man coverage. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Bang. All right, so passer rating when targeted. And, of course, we got to key in on these targets here, okay? You want to kind of make sure that we're taking those into consideration. I want to see where our boy Quay and anyone else, Quay Walker, so 37th in the league is where he's grading out at 87.5 is his passer rating when targeted. I'm trying to get used to using PFF for passer rating when targeted because we're going to drop SIS. They're not updating the information fast enough. So that's where he sits. Isaiah McDuffie is in the 40 spot. That's not horrible when you're talking about comparable coverage snaps, Jacob. 37. For the amount of money Quay's getting paid, I'm okay with it. He's not breaking the bank. It's just that first-round pick is like, you got to get more out of a first-round linebacker, right? I mean, it's gotten pretty bad. Again, I was the one standing on the soapbox saying, but Quay's good in pass coverage. He's not been in the last couple games. That's come back down to earth. So hopefully he can rebound. Does that surprise you any there at all in man coverage?
No. I'd like the grouping there because that makes me feel a little better. He's right in there with Shaq Thompson, Alex Singleton, Devin Lloyd. Look at there, my Isaiah McDuffie as well. And then my boy Bobby Wagner. It's not the worst. Not the worst.
Still above Devondre, right?
Still above Devondre. So obviously there's room for improvement there, but there are, like I said, Halfley knows, I think, what he has in Quay, what his skill set is. And hopefully as we move forward in this season, and guys like McDuffie too, like it's weird. We'll see on certain plays where McDuffie just looks like he's such a great linebacker. And then there's just random plays here and there where, for whatever reason, I think the skill set or the scheme or whatever it is, they just both look out of place. I still think that Quay Walker just plays a little bit too flat-footed, it seems. I think he relies on his athleticism too much, where I just wish he was a little more pre-snap flowy. Does that make sense? Like maybe not so waiting for the ball to break. It seems like he's reactionary versus being proactive.
No, I completely get it, man. Let's see if we can go over to zone now. Might be able to get both of these statistics up here. So, now I hate that I have to go all the way down to scroll over, and I'm sure there's a way to do it. And everybody in the chat's going, "You knucklehead!" There's an easier way to do that. All right, going over. Yeah, I'd say that's it right there at the very end. All right, so here we go. Passer rating when targeted in zone coverage. Let's see if it gets better. This is the one that hurts. It does actually. 77.9, not bad. Right above him. Jacob, you remember when we were talking free agency, go get Blake Cashman? Remember that?
Yes.
79.1 is what his coverage grade is this year. Quay Walker's coverage grade is 29.2 in zone coverage. But again, passer rating when targeted in zone coverage, Quay Walker is not the best in the league when you're talking about comparable coverage snaps. That makes sense. Let's see if we can find our boy Isaiah McDuffie. Is he anywhere to be found here? Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's an issue, right? 108.9 is his passer rating when targeted in zone coverage. So Quay ranking pretty well across the NFL amongst the linebackers, passer rating when targeted in zone coverage. Not bad, not the best there. So it's never a good sign, Jacob, when you're constantly trying to find one statistic to go, yeah, okay, he's not that bad, right? Just, sucks. So that's where the linebackers currently sit in that regard. Any questions on that? Anything you want to hit on there?
Just real quick, who's Tyrell Dodson? Can you scroll over? Who does he play for? I've never heard of that gentleman. Yeah.
Third in the league.
He's just got an elite coverage grade. I've never heard of the guy.
Let's see. Tyrell Dodson. We want to see how many snaps to Seattle. There you go. Yep. He's 112 coverage snaps in man. And so that's pretty damn good grade in man coverage, 77.2.
Well, again, it's kind of interesting. You look at this grouping there. Oops, sorry. And you've got a lot of guys that, like you said, that Cashman. I mean, he's with Minnesota, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Blake Cashman signed with Minnesota. Broke my soul, man.
That was a good signing. And a couple of those other guys on that list there, the Roquan Smith, it's going to hurt Ryan. That's going to hurt Ryan. I know it's going to hurt me. But it's another one of those things where you look at, there is something wrong with not to just all of a sudden turn this into a Bears bashing system, but there's so many players that have left that organization, left that team, and immediately went to somewhere else that had a decent coaching system, and almost on a dime have turned from either horrible players to decent players, if not very good players. And it's got to make Bears organization just look at each other like, what are we doing? What are we doing wrong here? Right.
It's called culture, man. It's called culture. And I think Eberflus is a good defensive coach. I really do. But it's more than just the head coach. It's the culture in the locker room. And when you look at it from that standpoint, think about it, Jacob. What drives culture in your organization? Yes, it's your coaching staff and everyone from the top, right? Absolutely. They play a big role. But great teams are player-led. Who are the leaders on the Chicago Bears team right now? Name them. Who are
Caleb.
So you got Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams is the leader. I think he was voted captain, if I remember correctly. Name another one. I think Jalen Johnson.
I was going to say Jalen Johnson, and maybe who was their other linebacker that they had? Was it Tremaine Edmonds or something?
Yep, Tremaine Edmonds. That's one. So think about those. Those are the first three that came to mind. Now, who are the leaders on the Green Bay Packers team? Who are those?
Sean, Kenny, X, Love, basically the whole wide receiver.
Josh Jacobs, former captain.
Yeah.
Think about what's going on in Chicago, and you've got DJ Moore rolling his eyes and complaining about Caleb Williams on the field with the cameras rolling. And then think about Josh Jacobs sprinting down the field, down the sideline in the end zone to get that ball to make sure that Emmanuel Wilson gets his first touchdown ball.
Right.
I'm telling you, man, culture matters.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that too, just to bounce off of that, but I believe Emmanuel Wilson said that he's going to have that ball painted up and given to his grandma, I think, which is, and like you said, he would have never even thought in the moment to get that exact ball had Jacobs not done that for him, which I think, I mean, that to me was the new Aaron Jones literally lifting up Dontavian Wicks' head coming off the sidelines. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you need a guy, we talked about how Jones had some massive shoes to fill. Not really. The guy's kind of small, but he had pretty big shoes in the organization to theoretically fill. And I think Jake could just come in and absolutely crushed it with everything that he's done. Just being a team leader, the production on the field. I think it's been great.
Absolutely. So Tyrell Dodson, I want to hit this and then we'll move on. Get ready to wrap this thing up. Look at his round where he was drafted by the Bills. He's a free agent, undrafted free agent.
Jeez.
So he was an undrafted free agent in 2019, right? And if we were to look at his entire career here, look at this: 52.3, 58.8, 48.4. Last year, 90.2 with 589 snaps. And then this year, he's grading out defensively a 70, but his coverage grade is an 84.8. So they may have found him one there in free agency for sure. So there you go. All right, man. With that being said, we'll get ready to wrap this thing up. You want to see if there's is there anything else we got marked in the chat we need to hit on?
There's not a lot, no. Just random comments over here. Omer's saying X is worth every penny. I mean, that to me right now, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. We'll come full circle here too. I showed a couple things here early in the show. Unless you want to hit that, go ahead. You can hit that.
Well, I just think it's a good point that CJN said. It's like any player on this Green Bay team with 2+ years of experience seems to be or could be considered a leader, if not a captain type figure, which is crazy true. Because if you guys remember, for the second year in a row, we actually have a younger team than anybody in the league. We had a younger team than we did last year. So, like CJN saying, man, you got guys like you wouldn't think of Christian Watson being still a young player on his rookie contract. He's considered a leader. Captain. There's not a lot of organizations where most of their leaders are going to be under 25.
Right. No, it's true, man. It's true. They're built for the long haul. One of the things I hit on earlier today was this chip percentage. We kind of talked about it yesterday. Look at Rashawn Gary, bro. He's getting chipped 20% of his pass rush snaps. Look at the names around him. Myles Garrett. He's getting chipped more than Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson, Daniil Hunter. He's getting chipped more than them, meaning the offense is allocating a running back and a tight end to chip Gary on their way out to their routes to make sure he doesn't get to the QB. And we wonder why his numbers are down and the grades and all that. I mean, it's just wild because that's not a true when you talk about a true pass set, for the best of my knowledge, a double team doesn't include chip, right? And people were I kind of went on a little rant earlier talking about how some people were saying, Preston Smith's getting double team more than Gary, but they're refusing to acknowledge the chips. And again, Preston Smith is a manufactured double team by doing these ET stunts and tying up the double team to free up for the tackle. So it was an interesting conversation. This right here we hit on too. I just wanted to fill you in real quick. If you look in the upper right here, look at this. This is blown block percentage and pressure percentage allowed. Look at Zach Tom.
Wow.
Dog. I mean, about to pay, dude.
And then Walker right in the middle there, which isn't
not horrible, right? Yeah. For a 7th round pick at left tackle, you kidding me?
Yeah. If he shores up those penalties there, then that'll be I think he'll be even better.
Yeah. One other thing too you missed. Look at this. 7th on this list. This is the fastest sacks recorded so far this season. JJ Enagbare, 2.66 against the Titans. When he did that jabbed outside.
Did you see he left Petit Pierre didn't leave his 3-point stance? He was still in his stance when he went past him.
He actually left him. He left the 3-point stance, but the move, if you watch it, Jacob, the move put him back in his 3-point stance.
Sent him back to the shadow realm.
It was almost like he's like, you know what, let's try this again. That didn't happen.
It's almost like when a dog takes your food, he's like, if I don't look him in the eye, he won't see me. I'm not there. He's like, I'll just sit back down in this stance, pretend like I didn't get blown.
I guarantee you, Will Levis came back to the huddle and looked at his tackle like this, bro. Like, really? That's what's going on. Unbelievable, man.
Real quick, I mean, Kingsley, you guys know I was a big Enagbare fan as he came out of college. It took me 6 months to convince anybody his name was Enagbare, but I think that, I mean, coming off of the injury he did, imagine if he didn't get that injury. I think that we may even see a more explosive player this year with a bigger jump. I think that he is finding his niche. I think he's finding his way in the rotation between him and LVN. It's starting to get to that point where we were geeking at the beginning of the year that we could have a rotation with Rashawn Preston, LVN, and Kingsley, and that it might not fall off in that second round. You call it a second rotation or whatever, the hockey switch or whatever. It's pretty awesome to watch it actually come into fruition.
The other thing too is like the way they're using him, and we kind of mentioned this at the top of the show. The way they're using him in this defense is kind of like how they use Zadarius Smith.
I was just going to say, I had a weird
and not
flashback.
Standing up too, not standing and mugging, but actually in that overload, they're putting him in that one tech and just letting him create havoc. Man, it's wild, absolutely wild. So, and we're using a lot of the NASCAR package. That is pretty much becoming common knowledge now. We're using a lot of the NASCAR package, where we've got basically our four of our defensive ends on the field at the same time rushing the quarterback.
That's so awesome to see. That's just so fun to see.
Brings back good memories like the old Psycho package.
Remember, I was going to say Psycho, yeah.
Psycho was.
Can I get one more opinion from you, and then we can get out of here, unless you got something else?
Sounds good, man.
What are your thoughts with the way that PFF tried to first put out that graphic with Lane Taylor saying that he was the highest snaps without getting a sack, and then after everybody in the whole internet just raked them over the coals and were like, here's the clip, and then PFF coming back and basically justifying wrapping themselves into a human pretzel to try to explain why that worked. I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing there, and I don't understand the pushback, because I feel like they just lost a lot of credibility with a lot of people that were on the fence.
And I'm one of those people that keep defending them. And again, I defend the grades. That's what I defend. People will PFF, Michael Lombardi's been bad about this. PFF don't know what the hell they're talking about. They just rank their top 10 offensive lines. And then you look at the tweet and it's so-and-so at PFF ranks his top offensive line. That's not the grades. That doesn't have a damn thing to do with the grades. I follow their grading system, and they got a nice little stat database. That's what I do. I don't follow personal opinion. The only personal opinion I really follow are people like Greg Cosell, Brian Baldinger, Mike Wall, people who have actually played the game. And I see these names pop up, and this is how so-and-so has this ranked, and I'm going, okay, let's check them. What's their background?
Yeah.
And it's a skinny little dude that's 5'7", 140 pounds with two big sand rocks in his back pocket and never played the game of football. And I'm like, listen, you can break stuff down and give your opinion all you want. That's cool. I'm not going to subscribe to it. You don't know what it's like to play the game. You don't know what it's like to coach the game. You have a right to your opinion, but I'm not going to waste mental energy trying to pretend like he knows more than people who have been in and around the game their entire adult life. I'm just not going to do it. That's why I don't grade players. I just don't do it. I don't know. It just seems egotistical. And if you do it for fun, that's cool. And you want to get your opinion out, that's great. But to go to bat on Twitter against former players and former coaches, like, no, this, you just don't understand. And you've never played a snap of football. That's a tough sell for me, man. That's a real tough sell for me. But you were mentioning that about Gary. Check this out, dude. Richard tweeted this out. Okay. This is at If I Was Richard. You should be Richard, because you're worthy of being Richard. Okay. If you were Richard, look at this. Old tweets. Why Michigan edge defender Rashawn Gary is not a first-round talent? PFF. Is Chase Winovich a better prospect than teammate Rashawn Gary, who's no longer in the league to the best of my knowledge? PFF. Yep. Chase Winovich is better NFL draft prospect than Rashawn Gary. And my man tweeted that out and put, when you have agendas. And again, there was their explanation about the Rashawn Gary not getting the sack. So just saying. And again, it's not that they hate Rashawn Gary. It's not that they're trying to beat down Rashawn Gary. This is what Michael Lombardi talks about. When you're wrong, you've got to admit you were wrong. Everybody who covers football, watches football, has an opinion on football. We are all wrong at some point. You've got to be honest and admit when you were wrong. The problem with some of the analytics groups is they
double down.
Yeah, fans do this all the time. They double down on their opinion, and then they try to we've seen it with Rashawn Gary. They try to weave these stats in to try to prove their point that someone is bad or someone's overrated, and they refuse to look at any of the other facts. And that's cool and all. You can do what you want. I'm not following it, dude. I'm not going to.
Isn't there a quote that's like, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics?
Yeah, there you go.
You could pretty much plug and play. They do the same thing in politics where, like you said, if you're losing an argument, it's like, well, how can I sort and categorize and find a number that I like that'll help me win an argument right here on the internet? And then they just plug that in. And you're like, you're an idiot.
Right. And that's why I was saying about Rashawn Gary. It was like to say, man, Preston Smith's getting double teamed way more than Rashawn Gary. He should be performing better. And completely ignoring the fact that Rashawn Gary's getting chipped more than Myles Garrett. What are we talking about? And then on top of that, the double teams being a reflection of a designed double team absorption. Like Jeff Hafley is putting Preston Smith in a specific assignment to force himself into a double team. And then you post the statistic, whether you're ignorant or you're just trying to be an ass, to try to prove, look, Preston Smith's getting more attention than Rashawn Gary. It's like, and the drones, Jacob, they will, yes, that's right. Master said so. Like, get the hell away, man. Watch the game. Watch it for yourself. Don't take my opinion for it. I make more mistakes than anybody. But watch the tape, man. Jump in there. Most of the people that they try to what am I trying to say here? They try to push people away from watching the tape. They'll minimize the tape because they want you to just focus on their opinion on the game, right? It's kind of like when you hire someone to do construction work for you or something, right? They'll make it seem as if it's impossible to do the task that they're doing. Okay, I think Jacob froze here. No, you're there. Okay. They'll try to make it sound like, oh, no, you got to have a special talent to do this, rather than, hey, you can do this yourself, because that creates more value on that person and you need them. That's the illusion they're trying to create. When anyone who's a football fan is hearing my voice right now can understand the game of football. It just takes a little time and effort. That's it. If I can, anyone can. Trust me on that. And that's what we try to do on the show, is like help people understand, like, no, it's not that difficult. Just focus on this, this, and this, and come to your own conclusion rather than just listen to this guy who's got, an agenda that he's trying to push. So hopefully that makes sense. But you got anything else, Jake? We'll get out of
here. No, just I was caught up. One of my exes just sent me a bunch of screenshots. Her whole
that ain't good.
No, her whole house in Florida completely flooded out. In her house, like 3 feet of water. So if you're down there, it sounds like this one's no joke. It's been kind of weird too. I have not seen a lot of news coverage like they usually do, trying to get people to get out. I don't know. It's been a little weird. Maybe I'm not watching the right news, but if you are down in the Florida area, just be safe, man. This one seemed like it was pretty bad.
Yeah. And we've been getting, you hear of flash flood warnings here in the Tennessee Valley. It's not a flash flood warning. It's a level 1 something, like it's happening. It's not just that, hey, this is going to happen. It's hey, we're already past that point. It's like happening. This one, I was showing that. That's what we were dealing with just a second ago. I can't believe electricity didn't go off. They showed a map of all the outages. Every county surrounding Washington County, that's where I'm at, named after the great George Washington, by the way. Every county around Washington County are out of power, and we're the only county with it. So that's how you know God listens to the PA.
I never understood storms. We get some pretty wild storms up in the Midwest, Wisconsin area. You guys, I'm sure, know that if you live around here. But down there, man, it's different. And I didn't realize you get parts of the hurricane that break off and go inward in the land. I was shocked at some of the storms we went through, dude. Like it was scary. And I'm used to having a basement. A lot of people don't have basements in Tennessee. And I was just like, dude, you guys are insane.
Yeah. We're the knuckleheads that go outside too. As soon as the tornado touches down, hey, get the camera. This is cool.
Get the flag. Woo!
But yeah, definitely. Randy Cleavers hit it right here, man, for sure. Randy Cleavers says, praying for the families in the hurricane path. Amen, brother. Amen. So thoughts and prayers, T's and P's, as Pat McAfee says to everyone out there dealing with the storm. Take care of yourself. Obviously, take care of your family. But can't believe we made it through with the power staying on. That's awesome. So that being said, we're out. We'll be back. Probably not tonight. I'm going to be working really, really late tonight, and probably be kind of running around too, seeing if anybody needs any help pulling stuff out of ditches, things like that. So I will be back tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening for an evening show. Okay. CJN says, early show tonight, Clayton. I'm headed to watch my nephew tonight, and I know you go watch family too. I'm going to be busy working with all the damage and stuff in the area, CJN. So there'll be no show tonight unless the guys want to do one, and that'll randomly pop up. We'll let y'all know. But that's the reason I wanted to get in here right now and get this done, because I knew there was a good chance I wouldn't be doing one tonight. So we'll be back tomorrow night for sure for another PTA. So dang, there you go, Chewy. Yeah, Chewy's in the area. There's signs being ripped out of the ground on Interstate 40. The problem is, as we turn this into a Weather Channel broadcast now, the ground is so saturated, like nothing's holding in the ground.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're just, trees are going crazy. So that's, for me on the property, though, it's just extra firewood. I love it. Get out there with a little chainsaw therapy. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're out, guys. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow night, definitely. Maybe sometime in between now and then. Sorry for the sporadic broadcast, but with the storm stuff, we got to do what we got to do. So for those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack 'em.